Hello everybody, and we're going to come onto an exercise known as the Clam. This strengthens another one of our bottom muscles called our hip abductors. Sometimes we call these the glutes, and it's a really important muscle to make sure that we're strong. As always, if you have any pre-existing hip problems, this is something to be very mindful of with this exercise, seeking professional medical help if you need. Having a look at the head blocks, I've now got a couple. When we're lying on our side, we want to make sure this part of our neck is supported. So have another look at the equipment video if you need. The way I'm going to lie is with a block between my shoulder and my arm. You do not have to lie like that. I'd say most of my clients that I ever teach, if I give them the option, they won't lie like that. So popping ourselves onto our sides. And I'll just move this one. Should I tuck that behind? That's better. So from here, I'm going to be lying on my side. So just to show what it could look like for you, you could be having the head blocks here and your arms down by your side. You may even find that you need to tuck up your pillow a little bit more. Any of you have tenderness underneath this bottom hip, you want to pop a little pad or cushion there just to ease it off. Okay, so from here, can you just touch the top of your hip bone? And you'll feel it because it's a bit firm. And what I want you to do is just slide your hands slightly back. And that first area that you see that's slightly back, this is our hip abductor muscles, ABD, abductor muscles. And what's important is that when we're strengthening these muscles, you will notice fatigue. All of the other exercises that we've done in this introduction, when we've been lying on our back, we're working on control before you start to notice the traditional fatigue in our abdominals that you would get with an exercise. When we're working on these exercises, you will feel that fatigue quite quickly. So at any point that you need to stop and have a rest, it's really important to do so. It can be an awful lot to practice straight away. All of these exercises that we do have a purpose, and we want to be aware that we're only feeling it in the muscle that we want to activate. So if you are quite strong, you may be able to repeat this exercise quite a long time before this muscle gets tired. Obviously, if you feel a bit weaker, it's going to take a little bit longer. We're really trying to make sure that we're not getting any sensation through the hip and the leg. And as we go through this teaches a little bit longer because I want to include a few modifications that we have to often do as teachers just to help people. Activating this muscle can really depend on the shape of our body and our pelvis, and so we need to give people a few different options. Hand position. A lot of you doing the introductory course may find that your core is a little bit too weak to lie on your side without support. And at that point, I can call this kind of like a crab claw hand. So my fingers are just gently resting on the mat. I try and encourage people not to push because that does a lot of pressure through the upper body and into their neck. So it's just a little bit more of a crab hand. In terms of my hips and knees, you can see that they're stacked on top of each other. My waist is long, and we can practice our pelvic tilt lying on our side, something that you should all be familiar with. And we've been working on finding our center lying in our back. So we can do the same here. We can tip forwards to feel that increased hollow. We can tip back so our spine flattens. We can find our center. With our waist, just be aware if you feel that you're really collapsing down onto the mat. If you're really collapsing down, you may want to just roll up a little towel and pop it underneath the waist. I often tell people to imagine a marble, or a bit more fun, imagine a Malteser underneath your waist as we do this exercise. So I will keep my hand here or here, but you do not have to copy that arm position. Some of you may actually want to keep your hand over the bottom so you can feel it, but not if you're losing your control. We'll go through 2 different variations of the exercise for you to watch, and then we'll put it all together. These 2 variations are used by people interchangeably because often some people's hips feel more comfortable in one of the variations. The first variation is my feet are down, and I'm just going to open my knees. I'm imagining that I've got a wall behind me, and as I open my knees, I'm staying really still through the spine, ensuring that I try not to rock backwards. The second variation is feet up. It does require a little bit more strength, but a lot of people find this suits their hips better. And again, we just open our knees apart. We open our knees apart. So that's what that exercise looks like. It's called the Clam. So the first thing we're going to do together is to have a practice with our feet down and have a practice with our feet up for you to feel which suits you more. So get yourself supported with crab hands if you want. Make sure your head is comfortable on your pillows. You don't have to copy this. Visualize that brick wall behind you, that little Malteser under the waist. Going to keep those heels and foot together and just gently open. It's called a clam. And then again. Okay. Now we're going to have our feet up. We're going to gently open. And we're going to gently open. Which one felt better for you? Which one suited you more? Now, if you felt that your hip was at all sore or you felt a lot of pressure in your legs, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do. The first thing that we can do is play with the angle between our thighs and our waist. And you can do this with your feet down or your feet up. So we can bring our knees a bit closer to our chest, have a quick go at whatever level you decided on, whether or not it was your feet down or feet up. Just notice how that changes it. Does it feel not as comfortable through the leg? Does it feel easier? The second option is to bring those knees further away. So we're actually a lot straighter through the front. And again, this is often something that really makes a difference to people's hips. Having a little bit more space between our knees and our waist can feel easier. Okay, just have a rest. One of the final corrections that we can do is, you may need to use your hand for this, is we do a little tip forwards. So it doesn't mean I'm twisting my shoulder. Can you see that? So I twist. As if I'm really straight, I do a tiny tip forwards. And that just allows my bottom to kind of face the ceiling a bit more. And for a lot of people, that helps teach the body to use this first. Some people use their thighs so much. So when we tip forwards, it stops our body being able to do that as much. So before you do that, find the position that you feel is best with your knees. Was it just naturally resting? Was it with your knees slightly closer to your chest? Was it with your knees slightly further back so you have a little bit more length? And then from there, just do an exercise either with your feet down and feet up, staying nice and straight. So you can do it in this position, or this position, staying nice and straight. And then see what happens if you do a very small tip forwards. See if that changes it at all for you. Does it make it any more comfortable? And rest. Have a pause, stretch the legs. Okay. So from here, we've gone through a few variations. We've gone through feet down or feet up. We've gone through maybe changing the positions of your knee and potentially adding that slight tip forward, but a lot of you are going to have to support yourself with your hand as you do this. So your bottom may already feel like it's had a little bit of a workout, so just give it a bit of a pat. And we're going to go for a set of 10 exercises. Now, it could be that you don't feel very tired in this muscle after a set of 10, but we want to check that the rest of the leg is not kicking in. If you do feel that the rest of your leg is starting to work too hard, try and adjust your leg position. Try a little bit of a tip forwards, or just make sure that you're really lying on your side. You can often pop your hand here and just feel it contracting and relaxing. As we do this, we are going to try and engage our core, and then I'm going to just add the breath work as we go through, so we don't have to do too many in a row. So finding that start position, I'm going to do the variation that normally suits my pelvis a little bit more, so that's with my feet up. Your variation is perfect for you. This does not mean exactly copying the teacher. It means learning about your body. So breathing in and out just to start, and then engage your core as you can, opening your knee up, closing your knee. Staying really still through the spine and long through the waist. Just see if you can engage that core muscle. If it relaxes, just engage it again and come back down. And again, just engaging the core just as you can, and engaging your core as you close. At any point that you need to rest, please rest. Breath work. We breathe out as we open up. We breathe in as we come back down. We breathe out, engaging that core muscle. Breathing in as we come down, engaging that inner core. Staying as still as you can. And down. Remember, I call it micro adjusting. You can just adjust your knees a little bit if you need. You can tip forwards a bit more if you need, just to see how that feels. We've got a couple more. Breathing out, engaging. Breathing in as we come back. Last one, doing really well. Good. Give that a little bit of a pat. And we're going to change sides. So just coming up into sitting. We're often different on both sides, so we're going to go through that again. Using that pad underneath your hip if necessary. Just tuck this one out the way again. So again, just lying how is comfortable for you. So from here, we'll go through that just a little bit quicker, but you still need to know how this side feels. So making sure we find our center position of our back, using that pelvic tilt. Marble under the waist, and if you feel that your waist is really collapsing, just roll up a towel and just pop it underneath your waist. From here, touch the top of your hip, feel around the bottom and just be aware of this muscle. And then from there, let's start with our feet down, heels together, just gently opening up and down. Next option, we're going to do that again. And then we're going to float our feet up and opening and closing. Nothing should hurt. It all feels really comfortable. Maybe effortful, but comfortable, resting at any time. And out of those positions, which one felt more achievable for your hip and leg? We're then going to pick one of those positions, whichever one was better. And we are going to try with our knees slightly more flexed, just opening and closing, trying not to fall backwards. I'm going to do both different options, opening and closing, legs down. We're going to come back to the middle we're going to just open and close. Just see how that feels. See how that feels in your leg. And then we're going to straighten a little bit more. We're coming much more in line. And again, just opening and closing. Opening and closing. Great. Now, whichever position feels the easiest for your hip to kind of take the pressure out of the leg, make sure it's starting to localize through the bottom really gently. Find that position. So knees up, middle or back. And then we're going to just practice again, just opening and closing. And I'll do it just in the other variation. Open and close. And then using your hand here if you need, just tip forwards a bit more and see how that feels. Does it help you find this bottom muscle a little bit more? And again, does it help you find that bottom muscle a bit more if you're tipped forwards? And then compare it to just being straight. Okay, well done. You may need to just go through that a couple of times, resting as this becomes fatigued. There should be no sensation in the rest of the leg. So picking the version that is comfortable for you, we're going to go for 10 again. The first few would just be the movement, then the core, and then popping it all together with the breath work. As always, just breathing as you want is the most important thing. So I'll do the level that suits my hips and pelvis. So I'm just going to float my feet up and I'm going to just open and down, staying as still as I can, trying not to rock back, long through the waist, opening up. Maybe you have to micro adjust. Maybe you need to go, oh, do you know what? Maybe I do need a little tip forwards. That's 3. Maybe I need to just bring my legs back a bit more or forwards a bit more. That's fine to do. Now we're going to engage our core. And if it lets go, just re-engage it. And again, just engage that core. Good. Now breath work. We're going to breathe out as we open up. Breathe in as we come back. Breathe out as we open up. Breathe in as we come back. And last one. Well done. I'm just going to come up into sitting after that, just to have a little bit of a check-in. With our feet down and up, some people can do both levels and their pelvis feels the same. If lifting your legs up feels very challenging, just leave it for now. You can progress to that level. We're going to just do a little stretch of our bottom, having worked it. So from here, I'll just use this head block because it's near me. I'm going to cross my ankle over my knee. That's going to open up my hip. If that feels like a very strong stretch, I'm going to just walk that foot forwards. If I bring it back and there's a comfortable stretch, I'm going to stay there. If it doesn't feel like there's any stretch at all, I'm just going to lift my leg up and you can hold it wherever you want. I'm just going to do the middle level. Just keep breathing in and out. And with that stretch, a stretch should be soft. It should be gentle. There should be a lovely little pull. No stretch should ever bring tears to our eyes. That's not what we want to achieve. Breathing in and out. And just change size, always starting off at the middle level because we never quite know how our body's going to be. Releasing that leg a bit if you need. Coming back to middle just to check, or if you feel okay, just come and lift your leg up. Gently stretching through that bottom muscle. Just breathing in and out. Just opening up that hip. Breathing in and out. And then relax.